Let's talk about that chocolate cake from The Incredibles. You know, the one he grabbed after he snuck in past curfew. First off, it looks like a delectable double chocolate masterpiece. And secondly, I've always admired the way he grabs the entire slice by hand. So of course I just had to make this for myself, for both the double chocolate and the eating by hand part. Today we're going to make a nice, moist, delicious homemade chocolate cake. For our chocolate cake, we're going to start with 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 3/4 cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 2 teaspoons of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of instant coffee or espresso powder. And then whisk all of those dry ingredients together until everything is incorporated. Grab a separate bowl and add to it 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, 2 whole eggs at room temperature, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Give it a quick mix with a handheld or stand mixer. Add 1 cup of buttermilk, also at room temperature. Mix again until combined. Add the wet mix to the dry mix. And finally add 1 cup of freshly brewed, strong, hot coffee. This can be regular or decaf. Personally, I use regular. I don't have any decaf in my house. And by the way, adding the coffee will not add a coffee taste to the cake itself. The coffee is just going to help enhance the chocolate flavor. Continue mixing the batter until everything is completely combined. And don't forget to hand off the extra beater to your little helper as a reward for all of their good assistance. Whee! And now it's time to prep the cake pans. You're going to need 2 round cake pans, either 8 or 9 inches. Mine are 8 inches. And here's a trick to lining the bottom of a round cake pan with parchment. Fold a sheet of parchment in half, turn 90 degrees, and fold in half again. Crease each of the folds. Make sure the parchment half is longer than half of the pan. With the open edges on top and the closed edge on the side, fold in a triangle twice from the direction of top to bottom. Line up the tip of the newly formed triangle in the center of the pan, and cut off the excess parchment hanging over the side of the pan. Unfold the triangle to reveal a nice parchment circle, which is the perfect size to fit right into the cake pan. Then simply place in the pan and you're ready to bake. Make a second parchment circle for the other cake pan. Spray both those pans with cooking spray beforehand though. After each pan is sprayed and lined with parchment, pour in half the batter into each pan. Again, the batter will be thin, but don't worry about it, it will be okay. In an oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, add the cakes and cook for 23 to 25 minutes, or until the toothpick comes out clean. And after they've baked, even when they've cooled slightly, they might have slightly sunk in the center. And that's okay. The cocoa powder is simply not as structurally sound as all-purpose flour, so it can't quite hold up to all the moisture in here that's making it such a moist cake. While those cakes are cooling completely to room temperature, we can prepare the frosting. Beat 1 1/4 cup or 2 1/2 sticks of butter that is at room temperature until creamy. Add to the creamy butter 3 1/2 cups of powdered sugar, along with 3/4 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, about 1/4 teaspoon of salt if you used unsalted butter, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 3 tablespoons of heavy cream. Beat everything on low speed to get it all combined, and then increase to high speed to whip it up. But be careful not to overwhip. If the frosting seems too thin, add some more powdered sugar, maybe 1/4 cup increments. If it seems too thick, add 1 to 2 more tablespoons of heavy cream. And assuming that cake has completely cooled, we're ready to assemble. Grab yourself a nice cake dish, take out the cakes that have completely cooled, and remove from the pan. The cakes should come out really easily, and peel off that parchment. Put some frosting on the bottom of the dish and add one of the cakes. Add a nice, healthy, even layer of the chocolate frosting on top of the cake. Grab the second cake and pull off that parchment if it's still there, and place the cake right on top of the frosting. Add more frosting to the top of this cake in an even layer, and continue to frost the rest of the cake, including the sides and every nook and cranny. Just keep adding frosting until you run out. Now, I tried to frost this cake as neatly and smoothly as I could, but I'm no professional, by any means. Actually, this is only the second large cake like this that I've ever frosted, the first one being from when I made the duck cake from Bluey. If you're at all curious to see that, I'll leave a link in the description to that video. So after many scrapes and turns with a non-turning cake dish, I finally frosted the whole cake. It's probably not as pretty of a frosting job as Mrs. Incredible would have done, but I'm sure its flavor and decadence is enough to please Mr. Incredible. You can let this cake rest in the fridge for up to 3 days, or you could leave it on the counter overnight. And if you couldn't already tell, this cake was just a little bit too tall for the top of this cake dish. so it smushed the edges just a little bit, but I'm okay with it. Grab a big knife and slice a large, thick piece of cake. And here is my version of the chocolate cake scene in the movie The Incredibles. And this cake was, in fact, dare I say, incredible. It was jam-packed full of chocolate flavor, and also very moist. And did I grab slices of cake directly out of the cake dish like Mr. Incredible does when he sneaks back into the house when it's too late at night? Yes. Yes, I did. And I really enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time.